makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part.
There is no other electoral system in the Western world, maybe even the world, that is more hijacked by money than the US electoral system. I think if there was a single policy, if you asked me one single policy that you could implement that would have more positive effects on almost every other area of policy, I would definitely think some form of campaign finance reform, electoral reform as a whole would be it. I genuinely think this would be even more important than saying Medicare for all, because part of the reasons that policies like Medicare for all don't pass is because there's so much money in the system that they don't let what is an obviously positive policy that is widely supported by the majority of people. That's why it doesn't pass. So over the last couple of days, we've seen a lot of groups put out ads in favor of corporate America's favorite senator, Kyrsten Sinema. And I'm going to show you two of these ads that I've encountered recently, and I want to contrast that with some of the ads that were both in favor and against Sinema back during the 2018 campaign, because it presents an entirely different image of what Kyrsten Sinema was at the time compared to basically the corporate soulless ghoul that she is now. I would say unstable corporate ghoul, because there is something obviously wrong with her. I mean, we say a lot about politicians being possibly, sociopathic in nature, and I think a lot of them are, but then kind of the art of the sociopath is to not be obviously one. Whereas Kyrsten Sinema has some very strange mannerisms, has certain attitudes that are just really, really hard to interpret, like really hard. And she's apparently a very smart individual. So it could be that she thinks she is so smart that she could fool a lot of people by putting on this sort of ditzy, aloof act. But I also don't think that I don't think she's measuring it well. I don't think how she is coming off is beneficial for her long-term interests. So anyway, let's watch these ads. Let's watch the two recent ones first, and then we'll go back in time to 2018.
More than 625,000 people in our state have come to rely on something vital: Medicare Advantage. It takes care of seniors with chronic illness, mobility issues, and everyday health concerns as we grow older.
So that's basically like a private service. It has nothing to do with Medicare, apparently.
That's what Arizona seniors deserve. Now there's talk in Washington about cutting Medicare Advantage and raising our premiums. Senator Kyrsten Sinema has fought for seniors and Medicare Advantage. We need her now more than ever because Washington listens to her. Call the senator and thank her for fighting for us.
Kind of sad that they say that, like, the only factually true part of this video is Washington listens to her. It's kind of sad that these are the senators that that Washington listens to, and not obviously, the Bernie Sanders when it comes to Medicare, the Elizabeth Warrens when it comes to fighting monopolies, things like that. No, it's the Sinemas that they care about. So one of the comments explain who this group is. It's the Better Medicare Alliance. Is an American 501 advocacy and research group that supports Medicare Advantage, a private health insurance option available to Medicare beneficiaries. The organization is funded by the insurance companies, United Healthcare, Aetna, and Humana, and has been criticized as a front group for the health industry, according to Wikipedia. Yep, there you go. Let's watch the other one. This one is, by the way, hilarious. Like, hilarious.
What are my options?
Hold on.
I got to ask Washington if you qualify.
Oh,
By the way, that doctor looks like the he gives a faint resemblance to the doctor in what's that? Oh God, what's that medical comedy show? Scrubs? Yeah. The asshole doctor. He kind of looks like him, doesn't he? A slightly skinnier version of him. You know who I'm talking about.
oh, all good. I have Medicare.
Well, the politicians in Washington are squeezing Medicare. Instead of everyone getting equal treatment, they want to treat some patients differently to save money for other things. First they defunded the police, now they're defunding Medicare.
I wonder if like the read between the lines of this is like, they're defunding Medicare because they're gonna, give that funding to the blacks. And what does the police have? They're defunding Medicare. They're defunding the police. This is outrageous. This is if the Daily Wire or PragerU started getting into a side hustle of making political ads. This would be what they would look like. This is straight out of PragerU.
Tell President Biden, say no to the left-wing squeeze on Medicare.
Stop messing with Medicare.
I love. I mean, is she calling President Biden? Did she have him on speed dial? See on her WhatsApp group. That's hilarious. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Again, no evidence for any of this, no facts, no studies, no nothing. It's just an ad paid by a political group called America Next. And because in this country you can spend unlimited amounts of money on any kind of political ad like this, you end up with this shit. Because it's the people who have bucket loads of money to spare, pharmaceutical lobbies, insurance lobbies, hospital associations, whatever it is, they have the money to fund an unlimited amount of these kind of ads. And they will convince some people, especially, I mean, both of these videos are clearly geared towards vulnerable seniors. That's really the main target group. Not vulnerable as in, they necessarily have like dementia or something, but let's be honest, like after, once you're in your 50s, and even more in your 60s, you care about these things. You can be scared quite easily about something that is healthcare related. That's when really you have to, you face the biggest risks of a major medical emergency. And in a country like the US, where there's no guarantee that you'll have the money to pay for it, that's how they can scare you. So it might seem comical to us that we're seeing an ad that it's this ridiculous, and clearly, well, I mean, I don't live in the US. I don't care at all. But if I was living in the US, you laugh at this, because I'm not in a situation where I would have to worry about these things, but many people do. That's why they're so effective. So now let's look at the old school videos, because now we all have this image of Kyrsten Sinema being, like I said, this rather unstable corporatist ghoul. But what was the image that people wanted to project from Kyrsten Sinema back in 2018? So the first ad that I'm going to show you is a pro-cinema ad. And this is how she passed herself off as, maybe not like openly progressive, but definitely amenable to a lot of, at least on healthcare, had some very strong progressive affinities. So let's watch this one.
Arizonans can't afford their health care. Some people don't have it. Those who do have it are paying too much.
Kyrsten Sinema says end the partisan nonsense and protect Arizonans. It's why Kyrsten Sinema voted to stop a new age tax on health care for Arizonans aged 50 and over and protect coverage for 2.8 million Arizonans with pre-existing conditions.
I love the scenes of like walking while talking to some other person. I love those scenes because they're so cliche, and they kind of give this impression. It's like, oh, she's like doing so many things that she's always walking towards somewhere while speaking with experts. It's such a cliche. Yeah.
You've got to bring people together to do what's right.
Kyrsten Sinema, Senate.
I'm Kyrsten Sinema, and I approve this message.
Damn. Now this one was an attack ad against Sinema, and this is again. So in her own video, she passes herself off not as a progressive, like I said, but definitely, you know, open to you know, things like healthcare, which now she's actively trying to destroy. But the opposition against her was not that she was actually a corporatist in disguise. It was that she was basically a hippie leftist. And so let's watch this one.
Everyone remembers where they were on 9/11. I was deployed to the Middle East, led airstrikes against the Taliban, and was the first woman to fly a fighter jet in...
I'm a bit of a military geek, and the A-10 Warthog is not a fighter plane. But, you know, we'll let that one slip.
Combat. I know the price of freedom. While we were in harm's way in uniform, Kyrsten Sinema was protesting us in a pink tutu and denigrating our service. The world is a dangerous place. We need strong leaders who understand the threat and respect our troops. Kyrsten Sinema fails the test. I'm Martha McSally, and I approve this message.
Yeah, so I guess people voted for a hippie anti-war protester in a pink tutu, and what did they get in return? They got a soulless corporatist ghoul. Yeah, and there's plenty of articles online sort of trying to explain how she was so easily corrupted. Was this all a game? I mean, was she genuine with her? Like, was this video the one about the
Sinema says
the healthcare? Was this genuine? Did she really intend to fulfill those policies, but then got to Congress and ended up being corrupted by money? Or was she always corrupted by money and just made this kind of front? We don't know. We would have to get into her head. But there's clearly, like, something happened to her. There was some conversion over the past few years. And again, this is the whole point of this exercise, really is get money out of politics. Because if you got money out of politics, perhaps people who are just in politics for the money would not get into politics at all. So we just wouldn't have Kyrsten Sinema running. She'd be running her triathlons or whatever the fuck she does, drinking daiquiris while wearing that fuck off ring. I don't know. And even if they did come to power, they would be completely defanged, because there would be no way in which you would have all these groups with bucket loads of money being able to put out all these ads supporting the policies that she supports that ultimately just harm the American people. So that is really why campaign finance reform is probably the most important single policy that you could pass in the US. But it's a testament that this, well, now it seems to have sort of fallen by the wayside. But I remember back in the, in the 2000s, and vaguely even in the 90s, this was like a big thing. But now they just don't care. Like, after Citizens United, like this is now the status quo. It's accepted that, we have to deal with this. There is, to use the TINA acronym, there is no alternative. And that is sad. But yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed these ads. The tutu one was pretty funny, and the other one with the outraged older woman calling President Biden on speed dial, that was funny. What's not funny is Kyrsten Sinema. She's awful. But yeah, on that note, if you like this video, please like, please share. Most importantly, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.